Okay, back to working on the gasser again. Next day, we're just going to clean up all in here first before we mess around too much. Just put a few little rags down. Try and soak up that as best as we can. Just a bit of petrol here. Just going to give it all a quick wipe down and a bit of a blow off. So the other thing you want to do before you start pulling seals out, just have a close look at that seal to determine how far in it is. It looks like it's just in past that little chamfered edge there. But yeah, take note of that before you pull them out. Okay, so we've got everything clean. Next step's just to pull that little collar out. It's usually not too hard. Pay attention to which way this goes in. There's a groove here for one of the O-rings. And also pay attention to the face on this. That should be fairly clean. This has got a little bit of wear on it, but not looking too bad just at the minute. And there's one of the O-rings just there. Yep, if we get him out, I need a pick. And the seal just in behind. So we'll get that O-ring there out of the way. Doesn't want to play. And there should still be another O-ring in there. So the next step is to try and get this seal out. You can usually just pry these out if you're careful. Sometimes. This could be a bit more challenging. So yeah, pretty much just going in with a screwdriver, a bit of an angle, and pop that seal out. Sometimes a bit of a bugger, but they will come out eventually. And then I should be able to see that second O-ring in there as well. Don't forget about that one. And we're in. Okay, so I've just given this collar a bit of a clean up. Quick touch up with some Scotch-Brite to get the dirt off it. Get a good finish. You can see a little bit of wear just there. Can just feel it with my fingernail. It's not too bad. If it was much worse than this or scoured out much more, that'd probably be up for replacement, but I think that'll still last another seal. So I've got the new seals and O-rings here. I just got these from the local bearing shop. I think this whole bag cost me $5 for the seal and the two O-rings. So we'll just go ahead and put those in. One thing to note, always put a bit of grease on everything before you assemble this sort of stuff, even on the outside of the seal, but particularly on the inside. Once they're in there, they're very hard to grease up, so I recommend putting a bit of grease on them all first.
So, just get my seal, little dollop of grease here. First make sure you fill up that channel on the inside there really well. That wants to be completely full of grease in there. That one's very important. You do end up with a bit of grease everywhere here, but that's all good. And I also like to put just a little bit around the outside too. I find that helps just for the seal to slip in. Don't need heaps out there. All nicely greased up. And we'll just do the same with the O-rings here. Good dollop of grease on there. And we'll wipe the fingers and we should be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to put the first O-ring in there now. Just gently squeeze that over, try not to disshape it too much. That one should be better dried in up the back there. I'll actually use that collar there just to try and seat him in home. And the second one will actually go inside this collar here. And that's where that one lives. Right, so we'll try and get the seal in now. Just going to gently push that over. Try and line him up pretty good below eye. And then what I find is just get a good socket that's about the right size. So you're pushing on the outside lip. And just seat that into where you need it. Try and keep these nice and straight.
So, just a few little gentle taps in there. Got all that nice and straight now. It's in about the right depth. So that's looking good. So the next step is the second O-ring. I'm just going to put that on the shaft so I can get over this lip nice and easily. Hopefully without getting stuck in there. Set that on like that, and then we can push the collet back in. So I just thought I'd quickly look at the two sprockets, brand new one here obviously. The one that we've taken off, you can see the teeth are starting to hook forwards, get that sort of shark fin look to them. Quite a bit of wear on the faces on both sides. But yeah, you can tell that just from the hooking of those teeth, that's showing quite a worn sprocket. Yeah, it might last a bit longer, but that's wearing your chain like crazy when they're like that. So we'll be sticking a brand new sprocket on there, and to go with the other new bits. Just a little bit of grease in here. Never lasts too long, but yeah, always a good thing. And then we can just slide that into there. And we should have enough room on the outside here. Right. Well, where that circlip's got to sit. Otherwise we'll have to push that collar in just a fraction more. So, circlip on the circlip pliers. And always just make sure those circlips have actually clipped in all the way around. That one actually looks like it's sticking out just a fraction on this side. We'll just go through and give all that a little bit of a quick tap just to make sure. You can usually hear them click. There we go, that's that side of clicking. And you can usually spin them in the groove a little bit too without them coming out. So you can see there's got a little bit of movement in there still. And that should be all snugged in and ready to go. So next thing is just the front chain guide back in there. We can put that on before we put the chain in. Just a couple of bolts. I'm just going to put a little tiny dribble of Loctite on the end of both of these. I usually just spread it out on one and just wipe the two bolts together, spread it out. You don't need heaps in there. Just to keep everything snugged in place. It is a two-stroke and things do tend to fall off. And we will torque those up to the required specs of a good handful. They're only M6, so they don't need to be super tight. Nice and snugged and ready to go. Subscribe if you haven't, and please like and share my videos. Thanks very much.